All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're objectively unpacking a literal cultural phenomenon, Rhonda Byrne's massive bestseller, The Secret. Look, whether you're a complete skeptic, totally new to this, or you've been studying it for years, today we're going to visually map out exactly what this text is claiming, how it says you should apply it, and the frankly fascinating ways it views human potential. We're going straight to the source material to understand the fundamental mechanics of this philosophy.
So here's our roadmap. First up, the law of attraction. Second, the ask, believe, receive method. Third, attracting wealth. Fourth, the secret to relationships. And finally, number 5, healing and health. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Law of Attraction, the foundation of the secret. We have to start with the absolute bedrock of this entire philosophy. Before we can even talk about money or health, we need to thoroughly understand the core engine that drives everything in this book.
Okay, so the text defines the law of attraction as a fundamental law of nature. It insists this law is as impartial and as constant as gravity itself. According to the book, you and I are essentially the most powerful transmission towers in the entire universe. We emit specific frequencies through our thoughts, and those frequencies act as literal, powerful magnets. The source material argues that every single thing you experience in your life, the good, the bad, all of it, is drawn to you by what you are thinking. Just pause and think about the implications of that for a moment. It means there's really no such thing as an idle daydream. Every image in your mind is an active, ongoing request to the universe. If you hold a persistent image in your head, this law dictates that it absolutely must manifest in your physical experience.
Which brings us to this brilliant quote from speaker Mike Dooley that is repeated continuously throughout the text. Thoughts become things. It perfectly captures the whole premise, right? Whatever dominant thoughts you hold in your mind, you're inevitably going to manifest in your physical reality. The book actually challenges you to look around your life right now. Seriously, take a look at your bank account, the friends you hang out with, your career, your current living situation. The text states that these are all direct physical reflections of your past thoughts. The great things and the things you consider, well, maybe not so great, they're all just materialized thoughts.
Now here's the catch, and it's a big one. The author argues that the universe doesn't actually process negatives. It simply doesn't hear words like don't, not, or no. It's kind of like if I tell you, hey, don't think of a pink elephant. What did you just picture? A pink elephant, right? Well, the universe operates the exact same way. When you obsess over something, like constantly thinking, I really don't want to be late, you're actually broadcasting a frequency centered entirely on the concept of being late. The law of attraction simply responds to the focus of your attention, thereby attracting more traffic and more delays. So the massive takeaway here is that you must ruthlessly pivot your focus exclusively toward what you actually want.
Moving on to Section 2. Ask, believe, and receive, the methodology. Let's see how this builds into an actionable process. Because if thoughts are magnets, how do we intentionally turn that magnet on and point it in the right direction?
You're probably wondering, how do we actually use this power without accidentally wishing for the wrong things by focusing on our fears? To explain this, the book leans heavily on the metaphor of Aladdin and his magical lamp, treating the universe at large as the genie. According to the text, the genie is always listening, never questions your commands, and has only one absolute response to your thoughts, words, and actions. Your wish is my command. The genie doesn't judge if your wish is good or bad for you. It literally just obeys.
To communicate clearly with this genie, Byrne outlines a precise 3-step creative process. First up, ask. The text compares this to placing an order from a catalog. You figure out exactly what you want, and you clearly ask for it once. You don't need to beg or ask repeatedly, just placing the order is enough to set things in motion. Step 2 is believe, and honestly, this is where most of us trip up. You must have unwavering faith and act as if the item is yours right now. You cannot doubt it, and crucially, you don't worry about how it's going to come. The how is the universe's job, not yours. And finally, step 3, receive. This means you have to actively align your feelings to the joy of receiving the item right now. You have to intentionally put yourself on the feel-good frequency of having your desire completely fulfilled before it ever actually shows up.
All right, Section 3, attracting wealth and abundance. What's super fascinating here is how the book takes that abstract 3-step process we just covered and applies it directly to something highly tangible, the pursuit of money. According to the text, the absolute biggest barrier to wealth is focusing on the lack of it. Focusing on debt only attracts more debt because you're broadcasting a frequency of scarcity and worry. To counter this, the book suggests you've got to creatively trick your mind into an abundance frequency. How?
Well, by intentionally visualizing checks arriving in the mail instead of bills. By actively declaring, I can afford that, when you see something you want in a store window, which effectively reprograms your limiting beliefs. And perhaps most surprisingly, and definitely counterintuitively, by generously giving money away. It sounds totally backward, but the text claims that giving from a full heart signals to the universe that you have plenty, which magically draws more money right back to you.
So, the crucial point the author makes regarding wealth is a complete paradigm shift. Think about it. How often do we say, oh, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or I'll finally relax when I have more money in the bank? The author flips this entirely. You don't wait for the money to make you happy. Radiating feelings of joy and happiness in the present moment is presented as the absolute fastest shortcut to magnetize money, and frankly, anything else you want into your life. You have to emit the signal of happiness first, and the wealth follows as a reflection of that inner state.
Section 4. The Secret to Relationships. Shifting gears away from finances, let's explore how the text claims we can manifest and drastically improve our romantic relationships and our daily interactions with others. The foundational rule here, straight from the source material, is self-love. The book states quite bluntly, your job is you. It argues that if you don't treat yourself with love and respect, you inadvertently broadcast a frequency of unworthiness. You literally repel loving partners because you're signaling that you aren't important or deserving of care. Think of it like a cup. You have to fill your own cup first, to the point where it's literally overflowing before you have anything genuine to offer anyone else. If your cup is empty, you're just transmitting neediness.
The text also stresses that your physical space and your daily actions must match your internal intentions. The author shares this really specific, kind of funny anecdote about a woman who desperately wanted a partner, but she kept parking her car right in the dead center of her garage. She also filled her entire wardrobe with just her own clothes. Her actions were loudly telling the universe, I don't actually expect anyone to show up. There's no room for them. It was only after she cleared out half her garage and made physical space in her closet to literally make room for him that she finally attracted a partner. Your actions are powerful thoughts in physical form, and they have to perfectly align with what you're asking for.
And finally, Section 5, Healing and Perfect Health. This is where we reach what are undoubtedly the book's boldest and most intense claims, dealing directly with physical health and the human body. Impartially reporting on the text here, the author argues that all stress and illness actually begin with a single, unchecked negative thought. The book proposes that the human body has a brilliant built-in program for self-healing and is constantly creating millions of new cells. However, the text claims that disease is held in place purely by thought and by the attention you give to the illness. Therefore, the argument presented is that the body can continuously heal itself if you focus exclusively on perfect health, rather than observing, researching, or complaining about the sickness.
To back up this pretty radical perspective, the book points to something mainstream science actually already accepts, the placebo effect. The text views this as absolute proof of the mind's healing power, showing that when a patient truly believes sugar pill is a cure, their body reacts by curing itself through that belief alone. Furthermore, the text suggests using deep gratitude and relentless laughter as active tools to dissolve disease. It argues that a healthy emotional state creates a physical biochemistry where disease simply cannot survive.
To really drive these extraordinary health claims home, the text provides some highly dramatic anecdotes. For instance, it recounts the story of Kathy Goodman, who allegedly cured her breast cancer in 3 months without radiation or chemotherapy, purely by expressing deep, unwavering gratitude for her healing and by watching funny movies to laugh away the stress. It also features Morris Goodman, who is dubbed the Miracle Man. After a horrific plane crash left him completely paralyzed, unable to move, speak, or breathe on his own, he visualized his way out of the hospital on his own 2 feet just months later. The book uses these specific stories to hammer home its claim that the human mind has unlimited potential to rebuild the physical body.
Wow, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, looking directly at the bold claims The Secret makes about the power of human thought to shape our wealth, our love lives, and even our physical biology. Knowing that this source material insists that every single thought you have is a powerful magnet actively shaping your reality, I've got to leave you with one final question to ponder. As you sit here finishing this explainer, take a quick look at the thoughts running through your head right now. Ask yourself, what frequency are you broadcasting?